What if with the push of a button, the government could control what you can and cannot buy with your money? Withdraw taxes when they felt like it? Redistribute wealth between you and others they deemed more worthy of the money you earned? What if your money had an expiration date, where if you didn't use it within an allotted time, it would simply disappear? This is not the synopsis to a dystopian sci-fi fantasy movie. This is real. Pay attention. CBDC. These 4 letters represent something bigger than anything the modern world has encountered. Bigger than COVID, bigger than the threat of nuclear war with Russia. These 4 letters represent money. All money. Your future and the future of humanity. And most of you have no idea what they mean. They stand for Central Bank Digital Currency. Rishi Sunak just became the youngest and first non-white Prime Minister of England. While people were focused on that as a landmark, they ignored the fact that he and his wife have a wealth estimated at £730 million.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, central bank.
This should terrify you. Cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin was created to decentralize money and give you, the people, freedom from central banks and the machine of big government controlling your finances. The blockchain meant you essentially became your own bank, where users would verify each other's tokens. Central banks didn't like this, as the technology threatened the very foundation of the global financial infrastructure. The banks worked furiously for years on a way to harness this tech and regain dominance in public confidence and the future of money in digital form. Fiat money is what the banks want to maintain because they control its production and distribution. Money used to primarily fall into 2 groups, commodity or representative. With commodity money, the actual coins were made of the valuable minerals such as gold or silver. With representative money, the notes were backed by the valuable minerals, so you could exchange that note for gold or silver. The UK abandoned the gold standard in 1931, and the US formally abandoned it in 1971. Fiat money, what we all use now, is a type of currency not backed by anything. Its value is based on a tacit agreement we all share that it will be accepted for trade. If we decide it's worth nothing, it is worth nothing. This change gave a massive amount of power to governments and the central banks, because the value of the money in your account could change at the drop of a hat if and when they determine. Money velocity is the speed at which money changes hands or moves between users. Each time it is spent, the government can charge tax, and thus the velocity of money is extremely lucrative to the central banks or governments. If you can force people to spend a digital currency, then you can dictate its velocity. If the CBDC has an expiration date, the government or central bank could invariably force a user to use the money before its expiration, thus increasing the velocity of the money and allowing them to tax you more than they would originally have been able to if you spent the money when and how you wanted to. With a CBDC, central banks can disguise fiat money as crypto, something you already believe to be the future. It becomes the perfect Trojan horse. Remember when Bitcoin exploded some years ago? The government's reaction was to do everything to destroy it. When they couldn't sow enough doubt to dissuade you from using crypto, they regulated it heavily as a means of control. Why can the government regulate us, supposedly free humans, and prevent us from creating a digital barter system to exchange goods and services with each other? Maybe because too many of us were distracted by movies, games, music, tabloid hype, and social media trends to notice. The CBDC is the result of the bank's efforts to create a digital currency of their own that they can make the standard, thus negating all independent cryptos. And it gets worse. There have been discussions about making CBDCs programmable so that the government can decide what you can and cannot buy with your own money. On the one hand, they would argue this can prevent using CBDCs on contraband, but in reality, it means the government can control your spending in unprecedented ways and even decide when to shut you off completely with the push of a button. One crypto to rule them all, and in the darkness, bind them.